for my case, and it changed my life. Thank you for getting me $270,000.
Call Steiger, Green and Finer.
800-561-1111. Deco Drive.
Wow. Scandalous.
Weeknights at 7:30. Now at 10.
America is ready for the 4th of July. Millions set to take to the air ahead of the long weekend, but the weather could be impacting their plans.
Meanwhile, Mother Nature may provide South Florida with natural fireworks. I have your holiday forecast coming up.
Bond denied. A judge ordering Sean Diddy Combs to remain behind bars after being both acquitted and convicted in his criminal trial. A pediatrician now arrested accused of killing her daughter, then staging her death as an accidental drowning.
Mold can hurt you financially, emotionally, and physically.
There's double vision, there's dizziness.
What Tracy doesn't have is a way to solve her mold problem. See what happens in a few minutes.
Well, good morning, South Florida. Thanks for choosing to wake up with us this morning. I'm Tavares Joe.
And I'm Olivia Deventi. And for Alex Diarmas, today in Florida at 10 starts now.
This is 7 News Today in Florida.
A live view of the Miami skyline on this Thursday morning. A bit cloudy out there.
And dry for now, at least. Let's get you a check of area weather. Meteorologist Jackson Dill in the Plex with the first look at our forecast. Hey, Jackson, good morning.
Hey, Tavares and Olivia, good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying the hazy sunshine, the relatively dry conditions out there this morning, because another stormy and settled day is underway as we especially progress into the afternoon. A little hazy out there today, as I mentioned, because we have a very thin layer of Saharan dust. Not going to do too much to really suppress our rain chances, though, as we still have a very unsettled atmosphere in place. And we are starting to see some pop-up showers and thunderstorms, as we did start off with more in the way of sunshine out there this morning. We had the southerly flow pumping in the heat and humidity that's starting to allow for some showers and thunderstorms to develop, especially across southern parts of Miami-Dade, right by Homestead. We've been seeing some thunderstorms getting pretty close to Kotler Bay. This little thunderstorm and downpour here really riding up toward the north along the coastline of Biscayne Bay and then right by Kendall Lakes, Westchester, where we are also seeing a small showers that continues to move off toward the northeast. Rain chances will continue to rise, so especially late this morning through the mid-afternoon, we will be seeing some times of showers and thunderstorms, increasing clouds. Temperatures pretty warm, topping off into the upper 80s for most of us, and then should start to settle down overall as we work our way toward the evening, but still with a lingering chance for seeing a shower storm. Now, if you're traveling across the country today, unfortunately, it's looking rather active, especially here in Florida, southwestern parts of the U.S. We could see some slowdowns as well as across the northeast, where severe storms will be possible. All of your full holiday forecast coming up.
All right, Jackson, and sticking with that travel forecast, despite those storms, millions set to take to the air and to the roads for this long 4th of July weekend. Still, the weather could mean a change of plans for many. 7's Alex Browning is at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport with what we can expect.
With more than 72 million Americans heading out of town this 4th of July holiday, it could break records.
Got to get out early, beat the traffic.
That's why we got an early start this morning.
While the majority of folks are expected to hit the roads, TSA says more than 18 million will fly to their destinations.
Out of 10, right now I would give it a 3.
Shayla's family's 4th plan's not going as planned.
We were delayed yesterday, so we're trying for the second time today to get to our final destination in St. Kitts.
And she isn't alone. Heavy rain disrupted flights across the Northeast this week, and more delays are expected.
But it's like he's trying to run a one-man band out there. Behind his seat. And we've come this is a make or break season for he's got to make an impact. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Right now, coming on live. We got a lot to talk about yesterday. Holy shit, we had a conversation. People were like, Diddy's guilty, Diddy's innocent. They got charges, they got a lot going on. People in the building right now. We already got over 60 people in the house. Everybody, welcome back to the Brandon Mason Show. You know, we're live on the vertical screen. I know you can't see my whole damn name on there. I already know the situation. People right now coming into the building. We got a lot to talk about. Today, we're going to cover a lot of information as you guys might know. We'll be live on the show today again with our attorney calling into the building right now, Scott Kotler. We're going to bring him into the show in just 1 second. And we had a lot to talk about. People in the chat right now before we bring in Scott. Busy man, going to come into the chat, hang out with us today. If you're watching live, put Diddy in the chat right now because we're talking about it. There's guilty verdicts. There's not guilty verdicts. Was he acquitted? What happened? How much time is he doing? What's the judge saying? What's the jury saying? We got a lot that's going to happen today. And people in the chat right now, let me tell you something. Pop's in the house. Nathan, Big Bill, Tracy, Lala in the house. How you feeling? How the hell are you guys doing after the show today? We got to get those reviews on there, rocking them on with our live studio. Starting August 1st in downtown. Diggs in the building. Here we go, Family Guy. If you're in the chat right now, put a damn message out there so I can see your freaking messages. And we're bringing right back into the show right now, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you yesterday, the attorney that comes and joins us on our show, very thankful for him to call in, Scott Kotler, over 34 years in the business. If you're watching live right now, who in the chat has done anything for 34 years? So you guys got a lot of experience. Come into the chat right now. Let's welcome him in. Scott, how the hell are you doing? And welcome back to our show. How are you?
Good, Brandon. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I got to tell you, shit was crazy yesterday, Scott. I'm so glad to have you in here. And I told people yesterday, and you actually had a good point. Scott, you said, let's get with these people on the show because people were giving live updates during the show. And for guys watching, we couldn't see what was going on live with the court. We couldn't see the verdicts. We couldn't see anything. Scott was giving us ideas, synopsis, if he's guilty on this, if he's acquitted on this, if he's innocent, guilty. We couldn't really get the format. And I will tell you this, it was my fault yesterday. I looked at ChatGPT, and you guys know we study all this. ChatGPT said, you know what? He's guilty of this. He's guilty of that. And we're looking at it, and Scott's like, holy shit, if he's guilty of all this, he could do 30 years, 40 years. But then Scott went back and took a look at it. Scott, tell us the reality of what's going on.
So you got a very astute audience because as we were doing the show, the verdict was coming in. And what we realized is that the ChatGPT was not accurate. And they based their information on what the news media's put out. And so what happened was there was speculation or misunderstanding at what the judge said. And they were calling it as a guilty, and we're waiting on the RICO count, when in fact, we don't know what those 4 decisions were. And as we're doing the show, some of your astute watchers started saying, hey, verdict's coming in, and it's showing this and that. So when we go back and look at it, we realize, hey, GPT got it wrong. And what we've got is a not guilty on the sex trafficking cases or charges, and a not guilty on the RICO, and we got a guilty on the 2 prostitution charges. Now, that changes the whole playing field. So instead of looking at 30 years in minimum mandatories and a possible life sentence, he is now down to a maximum exposure of 20 years, 10 for each. And his guidelines are significantly lower than that. So this guy could be getting out pretty soon. This was a huge, huge win for him. Big time.
Let me tell you something. I looked at this, and we did have people in our chat yesterday. Welcome back to the show as we get ready to push over 200 people in the chat already. Before we go into that, I want to show you some stuff. I want to show some clips that we didn't get a chance to show yesterday. I started looping through. People said a lot of crazy things. And we showed this clip of possibly Diddy saying, I'm getting out, right?
Still standing taller than ever been, looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. I'm still standing.
I tell you what, I saw that and I said, this man, if you're watching live right now, I said, him getting out, I thought that was going to be a far stretch. I said, and then I said, but did he really do it? Did he really do what they said he did? And that is where it comes in as an attorney. Scott, people say a lot of things, and they will claim he's guilty, they will claim he's innocent, but here's the thing. They had a lot of celebrities that they said were involved. They didn't go into a lot of things that people wanted to see. Now, I bring up pictures all the time. I got clips, Scott. If you're just joining us right now, we got Scott Kotler, live attorney in Miami. You can Google him, Scott Kotler, with 34 years in prosecution. Yesterday we were on here and we talked about this, and I wouldn't say we spoke too soon, but we were getting the information from ChatGPT live on the show and just explained. So he's guilty of the 2 prostitution situations here, but those carry a maximum of 10 years per charge. But what you're saying, if I'm correct right now, is that realistically he could be going home soon. And then the judge denied bail, though. Tell us about that for a second, if you could.
Okay, so this is an interesting point. While the maximum he's looking at is 10 years per count he was convicted of, we go by federal sentencing guidelines. Now, the government, as I understand it, pegs his range at 51 to 63 months in federal prison. That's their belief of what his guidelines call for. The defense puts him at 21 to 27 months. So there's a disagreement, which will ultimately be decided by the judge. But either way you cut it, you're talking about, if the defense is right, 2 years. If the state is right, 4 to 5 years. Now, the judge can go down from that, or the judge can go up. The judge could virtually give him probation if he determines there's grounds to depart downward. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Sean's dancing a little too early. I don't think he's getting out. And he tried to after the verdict came back. I believe they offered $1 million bond. Judge said no. Now, you ask, why would the judge not let him out? The more serious charges he was acquitted of, let the guy out. 2 reasons. Number one, the judge realizes he's probably going to be doing a little bit more time than the 9 or 10 months he's already served. So why let him out only to put him back in? But more importantly, something that most people won't think about or admit, this judge is new. He was picked for this trial. He's got a reputation which he is creating right now before the entire country. He doesn't need the powers to view him as soft and as to being weak and a light sentencer. Federal court they hammer you, and they just hammer you. So he needs to portray, I believe, a hard, tough image. And this is his chance to showboat it. So that's going to work against Diddy. I don't think he's going to get 20 years. He's going to do a little bit more time, and then he can do his dance.
That's really interesting you said that. And a lot of people, over 300 people in the chat right now. We greatly appreciate you. Everybody put 300 in the chat right now and let them know where you're based. If you're watching live, what freaking state are you based in? As we get ready to show some of this and dive into that, I want to hear that. But I want to show you some of these things that were happening. Take a look at this, Scott. You didn't hear it. Watch this. Take a look at this.
They used to have these guys, they used to call it the boiled egg test. They used to take a boiled egg, a raw boiled egg, they have those guys put their pants down and bend over and they stick it up their ass. The eggs break, they say they're not ready yet. They ain't put enough work in. This is Hollywood. So everybody want to go act like they don't know what's going on.
Hold on a second,
but
Suge.
you just look. That's all you got to do.
I have never heard of anything like that. So if I haven't heard about it, just assume a lot of people haven't heard that before. But you think it's on video?
That's why J-Lo and Ben Affleck got divorced, because of videos that he has of her that now they know about. Where is this coming from with you? What do you believe about the people around Diddy and what everybody knows?
Boy, you got to start with at the top. You starting with the top. Clyde Davis, Russell Simmons, Andre, Jimmy Iovine. So when you look at all these things and everybody want to say Puffy, 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 don't get me wrong. Yeah, Puffy stepped in this shit, and even if he wiped the shit off his shoe, it still stinks. But he's not the only one. They got all the tapes. I don't like mentioning Usher. I don't like mentioning Justin Bieber. I don't like mentioning all these people that everybody know what time it is. They should take a boiled egg, a raw boiled egg, they have those guys put their pants down and bend over and they stick it up their ass. The eggs break, they say they're not ready yet. They ain't put enough work in. This is Hollywood. You haven't been in those butt-naked parties. Even some of the preachers been in those parties, and they wasn't on their knees praying for God. See, they was praying for somebody to have come real quick or something. But I wasn't there, but there's proof.
What I want to say to people watching right now that are coming into the chat watching live, and we got Scott joining us on the show, live attorney. I want to tell you something. It's easy for all of us to sit back and go, he did this, he's in trouble. There's a lot of people out there that are living a different lifestyle. A lot of people out there that are rich as hell for a long time. And I'm not saying that's why they should do crazy shit, but what I am saying is they have access to so many more things. They have a lot more girls. If you're a guy and you got a lot of money and you're a handsome dude, you got a lot going on. That's all I'm saying. If you're just a handsome guy out there, you got a lot going on, let alone all that money, billions of dollars, if you want to say, or millions of dollars, whatever, living on Star Island, living in LA, living those kind of lifestyle, all those girls chasing you around. And you start to do things you shouldn't do at times, or you push your luck, and you think every time you see a girl, the answer is yes. And then sometimes the answer is no. And I think Diddy went through a lot of this, living this kind of lifestyle. And so, Scott, when I bring you in and I have these conversations, you look at it, the verdict right now of the prostitution, can you explain to people that are watching live today the prostitution charge, where basically, you know, the RICO charge, not guilty. The sex trafficking charge, not guilty, right? And then you have the two charges that he's guilty of, which is the prostitution. Is that, now, my question is it because he's across state lines? Is it like, what is the actual, and we broke this down a little bit yesterday, the prostitution charge in general, and we have people asking questions for you in just a second, if you can answer that.
So what you got to understand is this: the prostitution charges were the easiest for the government to prove. Allegedly, he transported women, people across state lines for the purposes of prostitution, meaning sex for money. And they proved it. It wasn't very difficult. It was the more difficult stuff they couldn't prove. Now the real question is, will the judge punish him for what he really did? Or is he going to get punished because he beat the system and he wasn't proven guilty, and the judge doesn't like that? It's hard to say. We're going to find out.
You know, when I look at a lot of people in the chat right now, innocent or guilty, if you're watching live in the chat right now, innocent or guilty, how do you feel right now? Even though we know the verdict is out, but in your mind, is he innocent or guilty? Remember, it's not what you did, it's what they can prove you did. And Scott, can you tell us as an attorney, and you know they come to you, and I'm not going to ask you whether or not they tell you they're guilty or not. I'm not going to ask you on live air, did they come to you and say they did it or not? But my question is, in your mind, if your inclination is, holy shit, this man's guilty as hell. I'm sure you have people come to you with different cases. If you're just joining us right now, Scott Kotler live on the show right now, attorney in Miami. They come to you with these things that are going on. And Diddy comes to you and says, you know what? I'm in this predicament, and you believe he did it. Do you have to flip your mind? Like, how do you go through that as an attorney and go, you know what? I believe he did it, and I know friends that are in this world that were there, and they said he did it. What do you do from a mental standpoint as an attorney to get yourself ready for this case?
Well, you have to remember one thing, and that is the attorney's job is not to judge, okay? The attorney's job is to make sure that the Constitution is upheld and that the government meets their burden in proving the charges beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. That's what the government's burden is. People think, well, he was found not guilty, that means he's innocent. No, jury didn't find him innocent. What they found was the government didn't meet their burden. They didn't prove him guilty of each and every element of what they say he did beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. Therefore, he's not guilty. Now, on the traveling for prostitution across state lines, they obviously felt that the government proved those elements beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's why they convicted him. From my perspective, I don't judge. I'm not here to say he's guilty or not. My job is to defend somebody and to do everything as legally and ethically as possible to do that. I've got clients that I know are guilty. They come in, they tell me they're guilty, and I get them off. Why? Legal technicalities, one reason or another. I've got other clients who have done stuff it's wrong, but not as bad as the government says, perhaps like the Diddy situation. So you got to evaluate everything. You got to remember the defense lawyer's not there to judge you. He's there to defend you. And you want to make sure that that lawyer is going to do it as zealously as possible, whether you tell him you did it or not.
Interesting. You know, and I got questions. People in the chat right now, a lot of people coming in here asking questions, and they said, ask Scott this, ask Scott that. My question to you that is in the chat right now, after I show this clip, is going to be, and you can think about this while I show this video, is, should Cassie be drugged into charges if she did all this? Was she like, hey, because she was involved in it, they're just going to go after the kingpin, the guy who set all this stuff up or was a part of this? Or do you think, and think about this for a second before I show some of this you haven't seen. I'm thinking about this, and I'm going to show you Diddy's background in a second. But do you believe Cassie should be brought into this? And when I say this, was she illegal? Did she do things illegal in her lifestyle? Think about for a second while I showed this clip. Take a look.
I knew I used to wait outside of Turkish baths for them. You know what they do in the Turkish baths?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay. That's where a lot of gay men meet. And they all take hot baths together. That's a lot of that these guys get into when they start having certain meetings with certain people and they meet them at the Turkish bath and they do their meetings and they meet their people in those type of situations where they're comfortable at. So they don't have to worry about their indiscretions coming out. You mean? You understand what I'm saying? So that's why, you know, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, me and the driver be outside. He'll run into the Turkish bath.
I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
So we're getting that right now. Let's get back to there. How about Cassie? Let's talk about Cassie for a second, Scott. Let me know how you feel about it.
Look, is the government going to go after her for anything that came out in this trial? I highly doubt it, okay? They're not going to turn their sights on their victim and try to prosecute her for things she may have done or may not have done. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening for anything that really came out of this trial. They're going to lick their wounds. They're going to move on. They're going to try to get as much time as they can at the sentencing, and they're going to call it a day. But I don't see the government taking this trial and using it as a basis to start reaching out to further investigations and going after other people. I just don't.
And so, well, I ask you this question, though. Are they just go after the kingpin? Is like that the whole situation? Like, hey, we know Diddy set this up. But, you know, what bothers me is this. You can see in the hotel videos that she was treated like shit. And I'll be the last person to say that, you know, to get on here and say that, you know, he was the best guy. I don't believe that at all. But what I do believe is in his position of power, he abused the position of power, I believe. But he had a lot of people coming to him for a lot of things. They can, you know, he can make them a superstar. They came to him for a lot of reasons, even always down to Usher. And then you go to like Justin Bieber and all these conversations, how all these people outside of the women like Cassie and, you know, all these other people. I'm just saying they came to him and his ex-girlfriend. We showed the clip even yesterday. I'm going to show that right now, how she's like, he didn't hurt me at all. This was one of his girlfriends and they were going to use her as a witness and they decided not to because of this reason.
Hi, Gina. How you doing? I have a quick question for you. You think Diddy's gonna win this trial? Before you go, that's what I want to know. If Diddy does win this trial, do you think your life will be threatened in any kind of way? No. You don't think so? You think everything will be safe? Because the girl Aubrey O'Day, she said that if Diddy wins, she's gonna leave the country.
I mean, he never did anything dangerous to me. I'm not scared.
You're not scared? Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Okay.
Imagine the Diddy case went from this to this.
Where's that?
You said I'm rolling up with my headphones. I've been studying this Diddy case. And I'm listening to Pop and Biggie. I'm doing this for the big homies. Yo! He didn't look like he knew hip or hop before. Now all of a sudden, homeboy is like jamming. Walking to the courthouse. I just have to refresh y'all memories. This was him. He's covering the Diddy case now. And homeboy was like, I've been studying on hip and hop. So before I didn't know about the hip or the hop, now I know about it. Now I understand the whole genre. I know what's going on. This is New York culture. East Coast, West Coast beef. Like, I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to get it. But to really understand it, I have to get it, embody the culture. He listening to Biggie and Tupac on there.
Well, what I'm saying, Scott, we got a live attorney on this show. If you just joined us, shout out to the 600 people in the building. Scott, what I'm saying is, and by the way, shout out to someone in the chat right now. I greatly appreciate you in the chat. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. Mike, we greatly appreciate you. Showed me a lot of opportunities on the live stream. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Love seeing you here, and thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you. Scott, you know, when I'm looking at this right now, watching these clips, and I just showed you, and you explained it very carefully and a lot better for people to understand. They want that federal judge to be very tough. They want that federal judge to get up there and say, the hammer's coming down on you, because if he's not going to be a tough judge, are you saying that the pressure is on him to really show up and say, I'm bringing the hammer fist down, or he might not feel like they want him to be a federal judge? Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
Pretty much, but here's what you got to remember. Federal court, in my view, is different than state court. Federal judges come across much more serious. The demeanor in court is very serious, and the punishments are very serious. And the judge wants to have an image of being tough, fair, but being strict, okay? And that's what the system wants to see of federal judges. And so this is this judge's first limelight. He's being looked at. How's he doing in this trial? Is he making the right rulings? Is he going to make mistakes that could land us in appeal and having this come back? Is he letting him out? Is he keeping him in? That's the things that the powers to be are going to look at. And this guy, this judge, is, you know, he's on the spotlight. So he wants to come across as being firm and tough and establishing his reputation for years and potentially decades to come.
And if you're watching this live right now, Scott's joining us, giving us some updates that, I'll be honest, I know shit about it. I'm on this damn show on a daily basis, covering shit on the Diddy case, like everybody watching. Shout out to the 800 freaking people in the building right now. All love to you. It's your first time watching Hammer Time. Welcome to the show. Black Blonde, how are you feeling? Leslie in the chat, K Hicks, Candy, RJ, Escobar in the chat right now. Jen, can you drop in the chat? Can you put in Scott's Instagram handle? Guys, if you're watching live right now, we are blessed right now to have Scott Kotler, attorney down here in Miami, giving us an updates. And we know right now, ChatGPT is one hell of an opportunity, a great thing to use, a great tool. But now we know, make sure you give it some time, because everyone was flooding this system with a whole bunch of stuff. Wait for the major news outlets to get out there until we become the major news outlets. All I'm saying, we give you the news first and foremost on the Diddy trial. But Scott, as I get ready, I'm going to show a couple clips here I want you to see and tell me how you feel about this. Did they use that? He said he started to claim that he was bisexual. Then he started to claim that it was just his lifestyle. Then he started to claim where he didn't understand. There's a lot of things going on. And then we have people like Jaguar Wright. But here's the clip you got to see, Scott. This is the one that people loved, that I showed so much. You got to see.
It all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff and he's in the exotic bookstores and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, you know, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, you know, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that, because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, you know, he got to go put it on the counter and, you know, show everybody what he's getting. So as he going, I'm just looking at the places where he picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I'm like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo, I was messing with him. Because people don't understand, you know, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang, so I'm still gonna tease him. I'm still gonna mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs, and he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. So when he got I just waited at the counter. So when he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like he gave the guy a stack something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet, and we flew to G4 jet, and we flew to North Carolina because they was doing the show. You know what I'm saying? So they were gonna do the show the next day. So Puff had the presidential suite, and him, the rapper, Sarah, and this other girl, young girl, they was in the room. Now you hear all this stuff going on and everything like that. I was like, okay. So I heard a bell ring. When the bell ring, I go to the door. I said, what's up? He said, my cousin up here in the room, I want to check him. You know, see is he all right? I said, who your cousin? He said, Ja Rule. I said, he good. He said, yeah, but I want to check on him. I said, he in the room, man. They don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going to go check on my cousin. I said, bro, you ain't getting in that room. He was like, yo, I'm getting in that room. I said, yeah, bro, trust me. Jesus Christ has to gonna come down here and take the air out of my body for you to get in that room. Believe what I'm saying. Yo, I'm going in that room. So he tried to do the bum rush, go in the room. I grabbed him, threw him up against the piano. You know, it's a little, you know how you throwing somebody around the room, threw him up against the piano, and then Puff ran out. He was grabbing the towel. Ja ran out. He was grabbing the towel. Ja Rule ran out. He was grabbing the towel. And then Ja Rule was like, Puff was like, yo, well, Jane, what's up? I said, yo, dude tried to get in the room, man. He said he Ja cousin. And I told him he couldn't go in the room. And he was like, I was like, yeah, Jane, that's my cousin. He said, but you ain't want to go up in there because there was a lot of freaking going on. That's exactly what he said. You know what I mean? Well, freaky stuff going on. And and I said, I let him go. And then Puff looked at Ja Rule. He was like, and they went back in the room. When Ja said, you don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
There's a lot going on, is all I'm saying. If you're watching the show right now, shout out to the 1,500 people in the chat. We are live right now with Scott Kotler. If you haven't Googled him yet, he's on our show right now. Scott, listen, after hearing that, how are you feeling about some of that shit? Did Diddy's personality, his background, them saying he's maybe bisexual or him doing this or doing that is just his way of life, like the party, he was into the whole thing. Is that something that helped him with the case? And if you're watching live, smack that like button right now. If we get to 100 likes in the next 30 seconds, I'll give a lucky person in the chat $100 right now. Double tap your screens. Scott, how do you feel about that video? Did it help him at all?
Look, Brandon, I'm no expert on butt plugs, okay? But what's the difference if the guy's gay, straight, heterosexual, bisexual? So what, okay? The issue is, did he break the law? And the fact of the matter is, between his personality, his sexual preferences, his fame, his money, okay, anything goes. And there's so much that goes on in Hollywood that we have no clue about. It's a different world. You said it, Brandon. You're talking about all sorts of different factors that regular guys and gals like you and I and the women out there, you know, we just live our lives. We're not part of that scene. and it's just a different world. But does that mean that it's wrong and it's illegal? You know, what's immoral or unacceptable is one thing, but where does it cross the line into crime? Now, obviously, in this case, prostitution, crossing lines, he got in trouble for that. But all this other crazy freak stuff, you know, if somebody's being coerced and violated and, you know, manipulated, and she's being raped and set up with other people, you know, why stick around for that many years? And that's essentially what the defense was arguing. This was all consensual. He had a crazy lifestyle. He lived large and in charge, and he rubbed people the wrong way, and it got him in trouble.
You know, Scott, that's a point that I want to bring up. People in the chat right now, how are you feeling about the case? Innocent or guilty in your mind? Drop it in the chat. Will he get out? Well, did he get out of jail, yes or no? When I say get out of prison, I'm saying like get out like relatively soon. Obviously, he'll get out at the end of his sentence. It makes it to that. But do you think he'll get out earlier? So right now, for the people coming into the chat right now, Scott, and I got a clip I want to show, a shorter clip. In the chat right now, I want you to think about this. His time, okay, and again, this is something that we got to figure out. Do you think that he's going to do, he's done, what, 9 months, 10 months already? After I show this clip, or actually, yeah, after I show this clip, do you think that he basically will do, you know, is it something that you believe he's going to get out and he's going to be on probation? He's going to do 5 years. And we'll show you the prison. This is where he was locked up. They're showing some clips here. And this is one of the images of where he was, you know, housed, if you want to say, for XYZ time. But people in here are saying a lot of stuff. And I want to show this clip. This was a very important clip to show, Scott. Take a look at this.
Not one person didn't know that Puffy was an usher. It's not one person didn't know what the saddest thing in the world is what they did to Justin Bieber.
What was that?
That's sad. That's funny.
When he was a kid.
I hate to say that. I hate to say that because I really like Justin Bieber. I feel bad for Justin Bieber. And this wouldn't have happened if Justin Bieber came from a wealthy family. Justin Bieber pretty much came from a poor family, but the young man was so talented, and he could have been bigger than Michael Jackson. But the depression of the drugs and the stuff they allowed these grown men to do to this little boy is unhealthy, and it's fucked up. No grown men supposed to be getting high and doing drugs and drinking with a kid. I mean, you had grown men would take Justin Bieber. A grown man take Justin Bieber when he was young to a vacation, a romantic vacation, showing pictures on the Instagram with no women, nobody else but a grown, successful man and this little kid. Worst part about it is everybody said what was done to Usher, and they done to Justin Bieber. And the thing with Usher spent the night and him and Puffy being in the same bed to do an album, and they never did one song they put out at that time. On top of that, when I met Usher, I came on one time, I'm speaking to the guy because he got good songs. That's out of respect. Like a young black man. This dude rolled his eyes at me. And so somebody came over and kind of said, Suge, you know, don't have one of your guys do nothing to him. He a good young man, but him and Puffy got a thing. He a thing. He said, he gave me a look like, you know. And I thought about it. The way he rolled his eyes at me, it wasn't like somebody homie rolled it. It was like I beat up somebody, man. Like I beat his, you know, he the bitch. Like somebody to roll their eyes, like you beat my boyfriend up. I ain't speaking to you.
Really?
It was one of those, right? Yeah, for sure. And the crazy thing about it is like Leslie, his mother, and everybody else said the same thing. Well, it was wrong, but if we go and get Puffy in trouble behind that, Usher wouldn't be Usher. He'd be known as the guy who got by Puffy, and they didn't want that. They want the money. I don't have nothing bad to say about Usher. Usher's talented. He's a good guy, you know, and all that stuff. I mean, he said he's just concert with Casey and JoJo and Jodeci. Devontae is one of the greatest producers, greatest guys in the world, those guys. I love all those guys. But they had their run in, they know the truth. Everybody in the industry know what's been going on. Everybody know which one's faking it, which one's not faking it. But you got to realize one thing. This didn't start just with Usher and Justin Bieber or Puffy. It started with Michael Jackson. started with, we can go on or on. Now, Puffy was being...
This was an interesting video because Suge Knight in jail has been there for a long time. He's doing a long sentence. So he's like, you know what? I'm in here. I might as well just do my thing. And he's built a business in there. And I'll show you that clip in just a moment. But Scott, live on our show, what I want to ask you, which is an important question I want to say. AC in the chat, I pinned the message to the top, says, classic case of a slap on the hand. Basically, a slap on the wrist. And you kind of said this, and you kind of called this yesterday. At the same time, you said, if he doesn't get this, he's going to get basically a slap on the wrist for this, because if he just gets the regular charges of the prostitution, which is still a charge, maximum of 10 years is something that we can't be like, it's nothing to sweep it under the rug. But for what he was looking at, do you think the attorneys did a really good job? Or do you think it was just that hard for the prosecution to push and tell the jury the RICO and the sex trafficking?
I think it was both. Okay. I think the attorneys did a great job. And remember something, rewind this tape where everybody was criticizing the defense team and saying, man, they didn't call one witness. They didn't put Diddy on the stand. You know, they're relying on reasonable doubt. And everybody was playing Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, what a mistake that was. Well, guess what? Who's laughing now? They called it right. They said, we don't think you can prove these charges. We're not going to accept any responsibility to disprove them on our part. And they called it right. Now, again, you know, the problem is there's domestic violence in this case. It's just riddled with it. And let's be clear, Brandon, and I know you feel the same way as I do. There is no room in society for domestic violence. And I don't care if it's between a gay couple, straight couple, whatever it is, it's unacceptable, okay? And this case reeked of it. But remember, he wasn't necessarily charged with domestic violence. He was charged with all these serious crimes. So people are upset about hearing how he treated people, okay? And yes, he did commit domestic violence, but it's not what he was charged with. Maybe the government should have rethought their case a little bit. But at the end of the day, domestic violence is a little bit different than, you know, sex trafficking and RICO, saying that you have this big enterprise. So we don't condone his activity or his conduct at all. And this was a great victory for him, but it's not over. He could get up to 20 years. He could potentially walk out with probation, but I don't think that's going to happen.
So, okay. So what, and I want to ask you about that. So one quick question. Latitia here said the defense called no witnesses to the stand. This is this trial from my life. I mean, O.J. Simpson was a big deal, right? O.J. Simpson, that was a big deal. But the Diddy case was this was the biggest shit going on. People have become Instagram sensations and changed their life by going to New York, standing outside of the building and just talking live about the case, because this was something the whole world wanted to know about. And you said something, domestic violence, right? And there's a couple questions I got for you. Domestic violence. How does it go? A man hits a woman hits a man. I'm told, could be wrong, the first person to get on the phone to call the police is the person that puts it in. They're good to go. How does that work? Because I see men could make a phone call, their ass is getting arrested. Like literally as a man, and I'm saying this not because of sexism or bias or whatever. I'm saying I'm 6'3", I'm a bigger guy. My wife is 5'4", 5'6", right? And she gets on my nerves, right? Like she gets on my nerves and I get on her nerves. But if she called the cops and said, my husband hit me, they're going to come take my ass out. They're going to believe it. I'm big as hell compared to her. If I call and I go, my wife just hit me, they're going to show up and go, bro, like, you need to go to the gym. Like, or I'm just saying, and I hate to make it funny, but that's like the reality, right? Am I wrong there about that? Tell me about that.
So historically over the years, I would always be representing the guys. It was always the guys that were getting arrested. And then I started to notice the shift where now the women were starting to get arrested because the guys started getting smart and they started realizing that valor was getting them in jail. So when they were getting hit, they started calling the police. Police would come out. So now it's more of a 50-50 equation. But what's going to happen? The police are going to look to see, all right, who is saying what? Who is the aggressor? And is there anything to corroborate what the victim's saying? Okay? If a person says they slapped me and the officer looks and doesn't see any red mark or anything to substantiate it, and there's no video cameras, and the person says, no, I didn't slap him or her, you know, chances are they're not going to be able to make an arrest. But officers are human. There's so many different factors going on. So at the end of the day, a lot of times that person that makes the call gets ahead of the curve, but not always.
You know, and I take a look at that, and I got a clip I want to show you on here, but, you know, and I just find that, and I appreciate your expertise on that. But when I'm taking a look at my screens, looking at all this, it's like, I see a lot of my friends playing ball and all that, you know, they all have done some amazing things and yada, yada, yada. But because of working out, the aggression of being so big and just showing up, if my wife just hit me with something, more than likely, I probably deserved it. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, I don't think my wife would just hit me with something. You know, I know my wife, but there are some crazy women out there that will swing at you or hit you, whatever, and some of them can fight too. Let's not deny that. So, and as we're getting that, and I thank you for explaining that, take a look at this clip for a second of what was going on. We have the attorney speaking live on the case about after the verdict so far. Take a look.
Obstructing justice, he was innocent of that. And that is no longer just me saying that. That is the verdict of our jury. So today is a great day. Today is a win. Today is a victory of all victories for Sean Combs and our legal team. And I want to say one thing. There are very few people around whom our legal team could coalesce.
You guys got to get out of the driveway. Get out of the driveway.
Shut the fuck up, you're talking. We are all
Shut the fuck
you
up.
Shut the
Get
fuck
out of the
up.
driveway.
You shut the fuck up.
Get out of the driveway.
Shut the fuck up.
Get out of the driveway. Get out of the driveway.
Sonny's
Get out of the
talking.
driveway.
Don't fight. He on me first. He on me first.
What's your bet? Get out of the driveway. Get out of the driveway.
And Scott, before I get your take on that, when you're talking about a domestic violence situation, these two streamers literally going at it, recording outside, a man and a woman. Look at how far they're taking this. You got to see this. The women, one of these ladies out there dancing and doing it, building her stream, and this guy's going back and forth on both sides. Take a look at this.
Why are you sweating, Tisha? Why are you sweating? Why are you sweating?
He's live talking about this fight, and he's live and talking about this fight. This is very meta, you guys.
Bitch ass men out here
trying
to bully women.
Bullying you? You bullied Diddy. You bullied his family. You bullied Diddy's entire family. You bullied Diddy's entire family.
Listen, let's get back into what
let's
happened
get
with
back
the
into it
prostitution.
because you're a liar. Why don't you tell them people about that Rico you promised them? With that dry ass wig.
Hey,
Tell them
Ron.
about that
Let's get what?
This is very meta.
Tisha.
This is very meta. This argument is very meta.
Black Mirror, guys.
It's Black Mirror, right? Look at how we're all live streaming.
Cameras everywhere.
We're all live streaming.
Bad boy is
Tisha's
back.
dancing. Tisha's
Bad boy is
dancing.
back.
So listen,
Bad boy
Ratchet's
is
yelling.
back, Tisha. You scrambling and scraping.
All right, you guys, kiss and make up.
Oh, she gotta stay on the line, she told me.
bad. Listen.
Bad
So anyway,
boy.
guys,
Bad boy.
not the bad boy
Bad boy.
I can't even take. When I'm watching that, Scott, I go, what the? Do you see all these people making a living on this shit now? Literally making a living on their social media on this outside the courtroom. I'm just like, by the way, before you shout out to all you people, Money Fleek, Black Blunt, Charles, how you feeling? Lord, Deborah, Chrome, Peanut Butter, Tommy, our moderators, everyone coming to the chat right now, Scott. So to leave it like you're trying to do some crazy shit there. What I want to ask you, Scott, if you're watching live right now, Scott Kotler live on our show. If you have Instagram, I'm telling you, go follow Scott Kotler. If you need an attorney, go follow and call Scott Kotler. You can Google him. Do not forget, SCOTT Kotler, Kotler. Don't forget, if you need an attorney, especially in Florida or any advice, do that. But Scott, what I'm asking you is this. We've seen a lot of shit going on. Can you tell us what they're saying when they're supposed to make the final? People think there's a verdict out there. There is no final. I mean, there's what he's guilty of, not guilty of. When are they supposed to tell him what the hell is going on? Because I'm still confused by this.
Okay. So we have a verdict. Okay. We already know it's convicted of the 2 counts of prostitution, transporting. It is set for next Tuesday to determine the scheduling. I think Tuesday afternoon. Tentatively, I'm reading that October 3rd is what they're talking about having the sentencing, but that could be moved up. So next Tuesday, court date to determine scheduling. The defense wants to sentence as quickly as possible because they're hoping maybe they can get him out. The government says we need a pre-sentence investigation so that we can put all the pieces of the puzzle together and the judge can make a proper decision. I would say this will be moved up. I don't think it'll take till October. And I think you should see a final resolution to this case within the next 60 days, give or take. I also think he's going to do more time, but it's not going to be a massive amount of time. This was a victory for his team.
Wow. So Scott, while we got you on here, I got another image in the video I want to show you. And I know you've seen a lot today, and you probably said, "Holy shit! I can't believe Brandon put this shit on his freaking live stream." But I don't give a damn. My followers know what I'm doing on here. Shit. By the way, I'm gonna put Scott Kotler's name in here one more time because when he calls into the show, he's gonna give us a lot of information. You better Google his ass when we get off the show. I just dropped it in there, Scott Kotler. But hold on a second. Take a look at this shit. This is important. I want to show you, because this is the last time we're talking about Diddy until they have the final thing. You come back on when they announce how much time he's getting, whether it's a total 20 years, is it 10 years, is it 5 years, probation, whatever. But this is the things that we were watching. Let's take a look at some of these clips. You got to get the full effect of what the Brandon Mason show was about, Scott.
A lot of rappers out here that got secrets with Puffy. Imagine Puffy, Playboy. Playboy, don't worry about that, man. I can get us, come with me to the island, Playboy. Come chill with me. Won't be no security guard, no nothing. Won't nobody know about your business. Hey, don't worry about that. I'll wire that, Playboy. I could get percentages from negotiating and making this deal, but you got to give up that butt. You got to give up that butt and royalties. And I can change your family life. You know why? Because he had to give up.
Wait, you've seen Diddy kiss a man?
I definitely seen Diddy kiss a man.
Continuously called Puff gay. Does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner thieves in theaters January.
Oh, that's what
I walked into the room and seen Diddy kiss a man. A powerful man.
Okay. Can you say what that is?
That what? I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone.
Because that person is still in the music industry and it's a big dog. And
so if you were to say that name, I would know who that is right off top.
When you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are, and that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream, they don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Hey, did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
And so, you know, if you're joining us right now live on the show, shout out to all people, 800 people still hanging out listening to freaking me talk. You know what I'm saying? Holy shit, my show sucks. So thanks for joining my show. I'm just kidding. Listen, Scott, I got to tell you, I'm so damn excited to have you on here, right? Because you're answering questions, and I'll tell you what, people want to know. And before we get you out of here, right, how do you, and I pinned some of these messages on here. People said, holy shit, it's a lot going on. For people that are watching, was this a big win, number one? Was this a big win for Diddy? How big of a win was this for Diddy, if it was? Explain that to us, just briefly. How big it was this for him?
I think potentially it's huge, okay? Now, if for some reason the judge decides to max him out and gives him 10 years on top of 10 years and he's doing the next 20, all of a sudden this was not that big of a win, but better than it could have been. However, if he gets what he should probably get, somewhere in the range of his guidelines, this is a huge win. He'll do a little bit more time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, and he's out. As you mentioned, there will be stuff to follow. He will be on supervised he'll be on supervision, he'll be on probation, could be for years to come. But at the end of the day, this is all about his liberty, his freedom. Is he sitting behind bars or is he out? And I think he will be out within a couple of years. And I think this was a huge win and a great job done by the defense.
And last credit, people that are watching live, I see a lot of new people coming to the chat. If you're first time watching, put first time in the chat right now. People are going to shout you out in the building. Trade Dub, we appreciate it. It's a first time listener. Clear and articulate show. We love and appreciate you all love. We have fun in here, people. So if I come in here and I say things, I want you guys to sit back, relax, enjoy the show. If you're at work right now and you got your ear pods in and you can't sit there and watch, that's okay. You can listen in. And if you're just hanging out, Kelly, we appreciate you. Jasper, how are you feeling? Welcome to the show. Oh, by the way, Scott, I also play stuff on here that you haven't heard yet behind the scenes during my live basketball games. We get thousands. I mean, we get to 200,000-300,000 views in the first hour. A lot of people coming to the building. We press this button all the time. Smoke weed every day. We do that sometimes because people love that shit. So I just press it for them, Scott. But while you're in here right now, hanging out before you go, one last question for you, and I greatly appreciate you so much. All these first-timers, Elijah in the building, Anwar in the building, Latoya Smith, Mario Zulu, Martina, Shelly, Brandon Downs, all the people for the first time. We love and appreciate you. If you are a subscriber of the show, put a Y in the chat right now. I greatly appreciate you. Put a Y in the chat right now if you are a subscriber. Cinnamon Scent in the building. How you feeling? Brad, welcome to the show. We greatly appreciate you. Tommy, if you're watching live, you are hanging out with me and Scott Kotler, an attorney that we hope will call into our show all the time. And we just had some gifted memberships going in the chat. Roger in the building just sent 5 new memberships in the building right now. Let me just read their names right now. Hold on a second. Here we go. The nasty one. Chrome is in the building with a membership. Well-deserved. Melon in the chat, welcome to the show. It's gravy and more people coming into the building right now. Scott, they just gifted a bunch of memberships on the show because people are enjoying the show. And if you watch it live, are you excited to have Scott on the show? Yes or no? Because we want to have Scott in all the time. He's very busy. He's always tied up. You call his phone, even as a friend, you got to go to a dialing service. They're like, well, you got to give your email number. I'm like, I just want to talk to Scott. Like, he's busy. He's on a case. He's got a lot going on. So we are so thankful, and we're getting a lot of yeses in the chat, loving you give us the information. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Tons of people are loving you coming on the show, and that is so important. But I do have my last question for you, Scott. Did you talk to any of the attorneys about this, and are they shocked at the outcome? Are they like, we kind of saw this? Are they thinking, what the hell? Like, this was a turn. Like, what are other attorneys, if you talk to them, what do they say?
I mean, I've talked to a few of my friends who are attorneys. Of course, nobody wants to admit they got it totally wrong. And we don't get that deep into it, believe it or not. We do law on a daily basis, and we're not really drawn to these publicity cases the way people that are not involved in the legal system are. So I don't think there's any great shocks out there amongst the other attorneys. But let me just end with this, Brandon. I want you to know this. Your show is so fresh, and I enjoy it so much, and you got such a great viewership. Anytime you need me or want me, if they're giving their thumbs up, I'll be here.
Scott, I'm looking forward to that. And I got to tell you, thanks so much. People that are watching live right now, I will ask you this, okay? I will drop a link in the chat right now because we got to do that shit. Hold on a second. If you're watching live in the chat, I want all of you watching live right now. And I want you to be honest about it because that's what I want. I want honesty first. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. I want all of you amazing people right now to go and do a review for the show. It's only one click. You just put 5-star, motherfucker. You just put 5-star. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now for all the beautiful people watching the show. It is so important to do that. And then I'm also going to send something about Scott. If you're watching live right now and you are in the damn chat, I'm putting the link in there right now to go there and do your best to leave a review for us of the show. I just dropped the link. If you're watching live right now, please go and do that. Scott, listen, you've been an amazing person to talk to. You've been a great friend. You've helped me in every way, shape, or form when I call you. Even when I'm like, wait a second, my license is suspended. What the hell did I do? I called Scott. Scott, we got you right now. Scott is one of those kind of people. Well, he will go there. He will go the extra mile. He's helped me tremendously. Tons of people are loving you coming on the show. Thank you. And again, if you're watching live, I just put the link in the chat right now. People, click on the freaking link right now. Go there and leave a freaking review of the show. Hit the 5-star, put your comment, and I'm going to shout you out on there. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, you'll get redirected for a second, and you'll come right back. Type in Bryana Mason Show Miami. You'll find it. Leave a review for me. Please, we got a new studio in Miami. Scott, we're going to have you in the studio. I hope you will come join us in there.
I've heard some really good and exciting things are going to come out of that studio. I'm very anxious to see it, and I think your viewers are going to really appreciate it. You got good stuff going on here, Brandon. You're going places, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. And shout out to Jen, by the way, who is helping you tremendously and assisting. Scott has people helping him. A lot. He's got assistants. I'm going to be running an operation. Scott has got it set up over there. He said, I can't hear. If we had the bloopers behind the scene, we should have put that shit in there. If you're watching live, I will put it. Just go on Google. You guys will see. If you can't copy the link, type in Bryana Mason Show Miami and go hit Bryana Mason Show Reviews. Leave me a review, damn it, because Scott's going to be calling it. And Scott, I will tell you, the bloopers of it with you trying to get your lavalier working, like he's trying to talk, and I'm like, I don't hear you. He looks over at Jen, and Jen's like, you got to turn it on. He's like, oh, okay. Scott, we love and appreciate you so much.
Brandon, I couldn't function without her. She's my right hand, my left hand, my right foot. She does it all for me.
All right. Scott, thanks for calling in. We greatly appreciate you. I hope to have you back on our show as soon as possible. Have a great day, Scott. Thank you.
Anytime, brother.
Guys, listen, if you're just joining our show right now, we love and appreciate you. You know you've been a part of our show for a long time. And I'm trying to put the link out there for you guys. If you can't click on it, I apologize. It was supposed to be the link where you can go to and you can leave a freaking review of the show. We're trying to get to 100 reviews today. Our goal is to get to 100 reviews. We just started it. All you people in the chat, click on that damn thing. Bryana Mason Show Reviews. Go there and do that. We greatly appreciate that. And do not forget, by the way, Scott Kotler, if you're watching this live, okay, and I will definitely help you guys out. People on the show right now, if you have Instagram, go on Instagram, Bryana Mason Show. I'll send you the link on my Instagram. It'll be in my story. You will find the review page, Bryana Mason Show Miami. You will find it. By the way, if you're watching live, Scott Kotler joined us, and I want to tell you something. You know, it's very hard to find an attorney. If you're watching live right now and you got friends in Florida, you live in Florida, it is very difficult to find an attorney that you can call on the phone. Do you understand? You got a problem. You're trying to find an attorney. You're going on Google, can't find. You can call Scott Kotler on the damn telephone. Not to mention, he's got social media, Instagram, all that. Go there. I know a lot of people, you go, look, you don't follow, you don't subscribe because things are new and you guys are following me because I've been on here. This is someone, I'm telling you, I'm directing you to go do that because this is someone I think is going to be a dear friend, a dear person for the show. He will put us in the right direction. He's very fair and he will give you honest information. If he can't do it, he will refer you to another attorney that can do what you need. But he is a defense attorney. I don't want to say it wrong, defense attorney with 34 years in the practice. Who the hell has 34 years in the practice? I've been doing this shit for 3 years. Imagine 34 years. Holy shit. First off, I'd be all gray, probably. And that's the thing about it. I'd be all gray, but I would be so much better. And that's what he brings to the table. He brings you amazing professionalism. Go follow him on all the platforms. We love and appreciate all of you watching live. You guys have been amazing. I will drop the review, things for you guys to do. And I will also later on send a link also for Scott Kotler. Go do a review on his platform, Scott Kotler. What an amazing person. I'm so glad to have him on today. You guys have a great rest of your show, or of your day, I should say. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. And we will be live on Monday. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. It's the 3rd today, so we're not live tomorrow. So make sure you guys have a great weekend. And I see all the people in the show, in the chat saying, great show. Love the charisma. Adam, Shelly, thank you. Chrome, Nathan, all you beautiful people, go leave those reviews right now. Brandon Mason Show reviews. Type it in. All love to you beautiful people. And I know you guys, people talk about my wife on here. I want to see my wife because she looks better than me. We know that on our live games, and she will join us on our show too. All love to you beautiful people. Refresh your screens in about 15 seconds and leave a message on our show. All love to you. Have a great rest of your freaking weekend. Have a great 4th. And I will see all of you Monday morning live on the show. Have a great day and take care.
Friendships. And Michelle says that men have meaningful friendships. They just don't go as deep as women do. She says that when she gets together with her friends, it takes days to catch up. Okay? But former President Barack Obama does not understand all that. Take a look.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you've got to stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much time to come
to check up, right? But we get up at 10 a.m. and we start the check-in.
That sounds
beautiful. And it begins with, first of all, girl, how you? Right? Hour 2 is like, okay, what about work?